Imagine stepping inside a fortress in Germany, where walls weren't just built to hold back armies. They were built to guard ideas. Behind Heidelberg Castle's battlements, electors plotted their future, while scholars prepared to shape Europe's future. It was both residence and refuge. A palace of ambition that dared to pair authority with learning. Today, those same walls still whisper their secrets of lightning strikes, hidden passages, haunted halls, and even the largest wine barrel in the world. These are the top 10 secrets Heidelberg Castle has been keeping for centuries. Number 10. The giant wine barrel and its dwarf guardian. In the castle's cellar stands one of its strangest treasures, the Great Heidelberg Tun. Completed in 1751, this immense wine barrel could hold over 58,000 gallons of wine, the largest of its kind ever built. More than storage, it was a proclamation of power, a feat of craftsmanship that still towers in the castle's shadowed vaults. The Tun wasn't just filled, it was celebrated. Planks were laid across its back to turn it into a dance floor, where guests partied above an ocean of wine. Extravagance pressed into timber and iron hoops, it turned a cellar into a stage of spectacle. And then there was Perkeo, the dwarf jester, who became its guardian. Famous for drinking nothing but wine, his answer to every offer was the same. Perche no? Why not? Soon his legend fused with the barrel itself, a human symbol of indulgence and humour beside Heidelberg's greatest cask. This was excess in the face of ruin, a paradox that hinted Heidelberg's story would always be bigger than stone. And soon, those same walls would cradle something even greater. Number 9. Birthplace of a university. In 1386, Heidelberg Castle took on a new role when Ruprecht I founded the University of Heidelberg within its protective walls. What had been a seat of power became a place of learning. Corridors that once rang with the clatter of armour now echoed with the murmur of debate, theology, law, medicine, ideas forged beside the tools of war. The Ruprecht wing, completed a few years later, embodied this new identity. Built as a royal residence, its Gothic halls, thick walls, narrow windows, chambers steeped in shadow, became natural lecture rooms where voices carried like sermons. Here, defense and scholarship existed side by side, politics upstairs and philosophy below. Heidelberg was unique, a castle where the sword and the book lived under the same roof. But the electors of Heidelberg wanted more than knowledge. They dreamed of reshaping nature itself. Number 8. The lost eighth wonder of the world. Between 1612 and 1619, Elector Friedrich V carved a vision of paradise into the slopes below Heidelberg Castle. The Hortus Palatinus, the Palatine Garden, quickly became known as the eighth wonder of the world. More than a garden, it was a statement. Power translated into stone, water, and living green. Its brilliance lay in design. Terraces stepped down the hillside in perfect symmetry, framing both the castle above and the Neckar Valley below. Hidden pumps powered fountains that seemed to defy gravity, while exotic plants turned the earth into spectacle. To visitors, it looked less planted than painted, a work of art stretched across the land itself. But paradise is fragile. The Hortus Palatinus was destroyed in the wars that scarred Heidelberg, its marvels erased before they could mature. All that remains are drawings, fragments, and the memory of what human genius achieved, and what human envy destroyed. But paradise never lasts, and destruction was already on its way. Number 7. The castle that fell from the sky. Heidelberg's first great ruin came not from war, but from the heavens. In 1303, lightning split the sky and struck the upper castle on Jettenbühl Hill. Overnight, a fortress built to withstand armies was reduced to rubble, proof that even stone could fall before nature's fury. For the people of Heidelberg, it was unthinkable. Towers designed to resist cannon fire had collapsed under fire from the clouds. The greatest threat to their stronghold was not men with weapons, but the storm above. That strike set a pattern. Nature could shatter what humans built. But the deadliest blows were still to come, not from the sky, but from men who brought thunder of their own. Number 6. The Blasted Tower. In 1693, Heidelberg Castle faced a new kind of enemy. During the War of the Palatine Succession, King Louis XIV ordered his troops not to capture the fortress, but to erase it. French engineers tunneled beneath the strongest walls, packed the chambers with gunpowder, and lit the fuses. Their most devastating target was the Great Round Tower. Once the castle's mightiest bulwark, it became known forever after as the Blasted Tower. The explosion split it in two. One half toppled into the moat, while the other clung jagged to the edge, hollowed like a broken tooth. It was destruction and defiance in a single image, a ruin that refused to fall completely. War had cracked Heidelberg open, but the castle's curse was not finished. When the armies left, the sky returned, with a thunderbolt that would strike harder than any cannon. Number 5. Lightning strikes. Twice. What are the chances of lightning striking the same castle twice? For Heidelberg, the second strike changed everything. In 1764, during a summer storm, a thunderbolt tore into the recently restored Friedrichsbau. Flames spread through its roof beams, collapsing floors and turning optimism into ash. Elector Karl Theodor's grand rebuilding campaign ended in a single night of fire. Perched high above the Neckar, the castle's towers had made it a natural target, and without lightning rods, it stood defenseless. This strike didn't just destroy stone, it ended Heidelberg's life as a royal residence. From that moment on, rebuilding ceased. The ruin itself became the monument, admired not as failure, but as sublime beauty. Poets and painters stopped imagining restoration and instead celebrated decay. But not every presence at Heidelberg was made of smoke and rubble. Some claimed a figure still drifted through it, but Heidelberg's next secret wasn't fire or stone. It was flesh and spirit. If you've made it this far, you've already survived fire and thunder, but only 2% of viewers reach the very end. Will you? Subscribe now and push on to Heidelberg's darkest secrets. Number 4. The alchemist's secret passage. Legend places an alchemist named Hortensius in the court of Elector Ludwig V during the 16th century. Like many rulers of the Renaissance, Ludwig was captivated by alchemy, the dream of turning base metals into gold and unlocking eternal life. Hortensius was said to have been given a hidden laboratory inside Heidelberg Castle, where he worked in secrecy. The story claims he built an escape route from his chamber, a concealed passage twisting down through the walls, allowing him to vanish if his experiments failed or his rivals grew too close. But folklore goes further. Some say Hortensius finally succeeded, creating the Philosopher's Stone. One night he disappeared into the tunnel, leaving behind only a faint trail of golden dust glittering along the stones. He was never seen again. Whether myth or memory, the tale shows how science, mysticism, and power collided within these walls. But not every secret stayed buried in the walls. Some still wander through them. Number 3. The White Lady Ghost. Folklore tells of a figure still moving through the ruins of Heidelberg Castle, the White Lady. Described as a pale woman in flowing garments, she is most often linked to Elizabeth of Palatinus, a princess whose secret love ended in tragedy. According to legend, her brother condemned her lover to death. Stricken with grief, Elizabeth took her own life, and her spirit has wandered the castle ever since. Witnesses describe a silent figure drifting through the oldest chambers, sometimes in the vaulted King's Hall. She does not speak, but her appearance is said to foretell sorrow for the Wittelsbach dynasty that once ruled here. In this way, the legend became part of the stone itself, not just a haunting, but a family curse. Her story lingers because it fuses personal heartbreak with dynastic power. Cannons and battlements tell one history, of sieges and war. The White Lady tells another, of betrayal and grief that cannot be rebuilt. But even ghosts weren't the end. In ruin, Heidelberg found a new kind of life. Number 2. The most beautiful ruin in the world. By the 19th century, Heidelberg's ruins had become more than a memory. They were celebrated as the most beautiful ruin in the world. With ivy curling over shattered walls and the Neckar Valley stretching below, the castle became a canvas for the romantic imagination. Proof that decay itself could be beautiful. Artists and writers sealed this reputation. Turner painted its silhouette glowing against the river. Hugo praised its fall as noble rather than pitiful, and Goethe saw in its stones the impermanence of history. Their visions drew travellers from across Europe, eager to witness the poetry of ruin for themselves. What set Heidelberg apart was its layered story in stone. Gothic foundations beneath Renaissance facades, with traces of Baroque grandeur still clinging to broken halls. Nature had begun to reclaim a princely seat, and romantics saw, in those layers, the beauty of time itself. That vision ensured Heidelberg's story wasn't over. It was only beginning again. Number 1. A ruin that refuses to die. Heidelberg Castle's greatest secret is that it isn't frozen in the past. It still lives. Visitors today ride the Bergbahn funicular up the hill, where sleek modern cars share the track with a historic 1907 carriage, turning the climb itself into part of the story. Inside, the castle adapts without losing its soul. Guided tours bring visitors into its best-preserved chambers. The Ottheinrich building houses the German Pharmacy Museum, and in the cellars, the Great Thun still astonishes as the world's largest wine barrel. Preservation here doesn't mean rebuilding, it means stabilization. Each stone is monitored against rain, frost, and the footsteps of thousands. The goal is not to erase ruin, but to let it breathe into the future. And Heidelberg isn't just protected, it's alive. Theatre festivals echo in summer nights, fireworks light the towers red, and a Christmas market fills its courtyards each winter. The ruin itself has become a stage, a gathering place, a memory still being written. So which secret shocked you most? The blasted tower, the lightning strikes, the White Lady, or the giant Thun? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more castles where ruins refuse to die. Heidelberg Castle proves that ruins are never endings. They're living stories. Over 7 centuries, it has been fortress, palace, and romantic vision, scarred by fire and war, yet preserved as memory in stone. Thanks to Charles de Greenberg, it endures not as a reconstruction, but as the most beautiful ruin in the world. What once guarded rulers now welcomes us all. Which ruin should we uncover next? Subscribe, and we'll find out together.